Hey guys. Yeah, we're unfortunately suffering a little bit of technical difficulties here, and by yeah here I mean on the yeah streaming setup we're running here. So we can't really get the audio link over to Rod working now perfectly. The problem is on the yeah software side here on my PC. So I'm going to need to yeah reset the countdown timer here, unfortunately, and yeah, hopefully get this solved. So we will be back shortly. Everything else is ready, but yeah, we do need to get the audio stuff working here. Otherwise, it doesn't really function too well. But yeah, we will be back as soon as I get this fixed. So yeah, hold on, guys. Okay.
So
Hello, everyone.
I can't look at my quick can't look at my quick notes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we are live now, and yeah, we got a workaround for my software setup issues here. So yeah, thanks to Rod for working that out. We're doing sort of a like a one-way audio with like two separate connections, but it seems to be working okay. So yeah, let's get yeah started a little bit first. So yeah, Rod Pobestek, he's the sort of a yeah mastermind owner, and yeah, everything basically does all the decisions, and yeah, everything on the RP968, which is yeah currently the back-to-back world champion time attack car, fastest time attack car ever built, has the yeah fastest lap record also at world time attack race. So still unfortunately a few tenths off the absolute world record at or absolute lap record at Sydney Motorsport Park, but yeah, extremely close to that, and yeah, runs a really uh, extremely high level team there with yeah top level people from all the different aspects of the car setup basically. And what we want to go through here is well, both of course the technical stuff with the different parts of the car. So yeah, viewers feel free to yeah add comments and questions and stuff like that. And yeah, we'll definitely be happy to discuss all of that with you guys. And yeah, we'll see what kind of information we can get out of Rod here. And yeah, I mean he is usually very open and very nice guy to talk to. So yeah, we'll see if we can get some nice secrets or anything like that out of him in this. And yeah, I also want to focus a little bit on the sort of like not so often viewed aspects of or like aspects of motorsport stuff. So when you start getting to the like extreme high level that the RP968 is at, then you're not like going to be able to do everything yourself, but you need to get like different top level guys and build that together to both build a team and to get the vehicle design and all this working together. So we'll be hopefully going through that also with yeah, some sort of in-depth stuff here in the stream today. So yeah, you still there, Rod?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
How's that?
excellent. Yeah, we just have a audio cut off there, so I see like 0 on the dB meter there. So okay, a little bit concerning always, but okay, it works fine. Yeah, do you mind maybe giving a like a quick recap of how you ended up getting like started with the RP968, like previous motorsport stuff maybe, or how you got like what sparked your interest, so to say?
Well, look, I just like a lot of people, I got a, I grew up with cars. I was really into that when I was young. Me and my brother were both really into cars, and he had a kit car and things like that. And then had a lot of other. I took this huge diversion with music because music's really my big thing. And then later on in life, I just got this opportunity to start getting back into cars again. And then I joined the local Porsche car club, and me and a few friends of mine, we just had 944s, but we just we just really like modifying the cars, and the 944 turbo is a really easy car to get going fast, and it's a really rewarding car in a lot of ways. And so we were just driving the Porsche club, and we just started modifying cars, and he just got a bit carried away, really. And
Excellent.
and then another friend of mine in the car club, he was the first one to really get into TimeAttack, because when you drive with a Porsche club, there's a lot of they don't really like they just the 944 is not really a traditional Porsche, and so there's a lot of sort of resistance, and we could make the cars really fast, and so we just found people not really comfortable with the fact that our cars were quick, really quick, and we just started modifying them. And once you modify them, there's a lot of potential in these cars.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
another and this friend of mine, Patrick Garvin, he found out about Superlap, as it was called then, which really sort of suited what we wanted to do, and we were just sort of interested in these things. And then I originally was going to make the RP968 was just a street car that was just going to turn into a really good track car. And I just met a few people working on the car, and then it just one day, Dion, one of the engineers, just said, "Oh, you're building a time attack car," and I went, "Well, yeah, it looks." I didn't realize I was, and that's just
Okay.
really what happened.
Okay, so like the sort
And
of like traditional Porscheist like 911, like sort of, well, I mean not snobs in a bad way, but kind of like 911 Porsche fanatics that like don't like view the 944 or something as like a real Porsche or something like that would be sort of like part of the reason then how you ended up going into like a time attack stuff, because yeah, you like want to build things like really fast and have much more fun with that, and like got into sort of a different crowd then, or how do you like end up taking sort of that path?
well, look, we started. Whenever you modify a car, you want to get some satisfaction out of it, and a time attack really is really good if you really want to modify cars, because there's no real restrictions, particularly on the bodywork and the aero. Most motorsport, they just don't like you doing that stuff, so they just won't let you. And it's the making the car fast that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's so true. That's yeah, one of the reasons, yeah, we ended up starting Elmer Racing also. I mean, I did lots of racing, and yeah, worked on our yeah, cars, and started realizing that the technical stuff is actually as interesting or as the actual racing part also, and yeah, you start doing that. But yeah, interesting to yeah, sort of hear the sort of background story. So this is yeah something that we haven't like really even talked before. So really interesting to know here. Yeah, live on stream also while doing that. So good stuff. Okay, so how did you? I think we probably want to keep this relatively compact, so we're going to yeah probably skip forward a little bit through these sort of
Mm.
early stages or like the like detailed technical stuff. Maybe skip over a little bit of that. But yeah, if you would like to go through maybe a little bit on how you ended up with like all the top level guys that you have like doing the aero and chassis setup and yeah the
Well,
overall team
it,
and stuff like that. So yeah, feel free. Yeah.
it's sort of a number of circumstances this occurred. The guys PI Technology who basically build the car, they were one of the sponsors at the Porsche Club, so we sort of knew them, but they dealt with all the the expensive cars, but they'd always done a lot of modifying, and they were young guys um, who really like just making stuff really, and so once I started with my 944, it started going to this super stage of modification. So I started talking to them about this car, and then they knew a suspension engineer, Diane, from Anveridge, and he that's how I met him,
Okay.
and because he was just sort of around, and then it turned out he went to university with Sam Diasonos, who's the aero guy, and so Sam had just come back from working in Formula One at that time, and so it was just a number of circumstances that happened that we had enough to people that had the capability to
Okay.
make something like this.
Okay,
Really,
so you basically just like stumbled across, or well, a little bit like kind of stumbled across the right people, but you were also sort of like had this sort of forward vision or something like that to like grab them up and like get them working on what you wanted to do and
well, it,
how did like
it's sort of
the
like a
things meet, so to
it's
say?
sort of like a dream, and you think, oh, it'd be good to do that, but you know, you can't do things unless you need people to help you if you really want to do it well. You know, it's nice
Mm.
to fiddle around with things and try things, but if you really do want to make something fast, and that's more satisfying because you put a lot into it, you get a more reward. And so, but you got to find those people, and it just so happened that we did really. It was just sort of a luck. We didn't find all the people we needed, but over time, you find a few more things. But that's really how it happened. It was never. This was supposed to be a lot lower level car originally, but
It got a little bit out of
it
hand at
just
some point.
yeah. Well, look, they're just the things I wanted to do. They it just the rules weren't there. There is restrictions in time attack. So originally it was going to be an open car, but I wanted to do certain things with the car, and that just put me into pro class. And then once you go into pro class, you just it gets more out of hand, and you just got to find some way of doing it. Really.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the yeah, super good stuff with time attack specifically is the technical regulation. I mean, you don't have the sort of wheel-to-wheel racing, which is kind of a downside, but then on the plus side, that allows much more like open technical regulations without like getting too sort of a high danger level or something like that. So I think there's definitely a trade-off there, but like for like yeah, guys that are really interested in tech stuff and wanted to make a car as fast as possible. I mean, it's so interesting to look at that and yeah, especially like yeah how the sort of pit lane and everything works. So it's relatively open. You can go talk to different people about different aspects. Of course, not everyone will tell you all the details about absolutely everything, but like be really open and stuff like that. So really, I think yeah, overall interesting event and definitely easy to get hooked on that if you're sort of interested in the tech aspect and yeah, then you always figure out oh we can make this a little bit better and a little bit faster over here. So yeah, I can definitely see how it's easy to get caught up in that. So okay,
Yeah. Look. In a way, with time attack, because the rules are so open, you don't need the secrecy between other people. You can tell other people what you do. You know, everyone can look at our car, and but even if they copy it, it's not going to really. It's not. It doesn't mean. It's not that easy to copy things. There's so much more potential in that car, but most of the high level guys, we all get along pretty well with each other. There's no real point in hiding things, because once you've committed yourself so much, you actually feel you really want to talk to someone else that could have done the same thing. Really, you've got actually a lot more in common with them. It's the competition thing is it's just not like it is in high level motorsport. Really, it's about making the car fast. It's not about beating the other people. It's just a slightly different emphasis, which I do prefer myself.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think we basically covered sort of the interest aspect of things there. Well, yeah, actually, maybe yeah, another sort of semi-detail there. So I mean, most people that are into Time Attack probably like build the cars because they want to drive them themselves. So how did you like end up sort of being like yeah, sort of a mastermind and team chief and all of that, but not driving your own car? Like how did that happen, and? Yeah, I think that's something that probably a lot of people will be like seems really strange to a lot of people.
Yeah, I know people find that strange, but the idea is to make the car go fast. And if you're at the track and you want to go a second faster, you got to prototype your car. You know, it's just faster, and it's just more efficient way to do. You know, I can't learn how to. I'm not a good enough driver to learn how to drive a really fast car. A car that's faster than any other car in Australia. Really, it's a ridiculous proposition. It's just you don't deliberately slow the car down. And a pro, you learn so much about the car instantly. They just get in the car, they put their foot flat to the floor, and they're within probably a second of the potential of the car every time they're in it. It's a huge advantage with
Yeah,
testing. It's just like for me to drive it would just be like an ego trip. It would be just an indulgence, which I just don't need that really.
yeah. So have you actually driven that specific car at some point in time? I mean, not the current version, but like the like same base chassis or something like that, or
Oh yeah, no, I've driven that car a lot.
okay, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So it is like actually,
a
yeah,
real lot, a real lot. I've done a lot of learning on that drive, but as I said, it was a road car originally.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
It's been through a lot. It's been through a lot of evolution. But
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, so many different
the,
versions and
the,
stuff.
these days, even if I wanted to drive it, it just it just isn't practically feasible because we just don't do testing. The car needs more testing than anything else,
Yeah.
and so we can't waste that time getting an amateur to go around the track a couple of times.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I mean,
it
unless of
really
course you want to, because I mean you're the boss, so you could do whatever you want, of course. But yeah,
yeah, but yeah, I want to make a fast car, and it's not going
yeah,
to. With me driving it, it's not going to make the car faster.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I don't know your driving skill, but I trust your judgment on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, look, I'm just a normal amateur, you know.
Good stuff. Okay, so the tech aspects of the car. I think probably the aero is probably the most important. So if we start like going through that, so I'm assuming yeah, it's gone through so many different versions of that, but what kind of like detailed aero stuff? I mean, you're not the like main CFD guy, but I'm assuming you're very knowledgeable on like even the sort of smaller details of the aero stuff. So yeah, is there anything like specific and yeah, especially like compromises between different aspects of the car, like any kind of suspension geometry or like development timeframes or something like that? That what has like sort of been aero versus something else compromises, and how has like that part turned out?
Yeah, well, look, the car was originally designed really around the aero. One of the things we wanted to do was use the aero coming through in the front of the car and run the aero through the suspension. and we made a few changes. We raised the gearbox up as high as we could, the back, so we could get a bigger diffuser. Um, but once we've done that, then we just start doing the aero, and it's all done in CFD. So he will draw what he thinks will work, and then he just makes small changes, continually, and just runs it through the CFD. It's a long process, but it's quite simple, and it's not particularly expensive really for the value you get out of it. You run it over in the computer takes a day or so every iteration, which is every version. But we've done 300 or 400 of those iterations now. So
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the trick
it,
there is
it's
to get a guy that is really good at doing the CFD stuff and sort of knowing which direction to take that in, to take it into, and
yeah
looking at the results and figuring out, okay, we maybe we want to like do this kind of a change instead of just doing like randomly whatever and seeing what happens, but like having a really good sort of knowledgeable guy there that can sort of take the yeah, specifics
yeah
for
no
the
look
car into consideration.
it is really good, but it is sort of dependent on the original way you start, because like we would start with the angle of the diffuser, and we would leave it there, and then we start putting the vanes in, and there's a lot of work with vortexes with the aerodynamics, which is
Yeah.
it's quite hard to really understand how they work. And when you've got a specialist like Sam, it really helps because he understands the way the vortexes work, and they actually create the energy under the floor, which is it's really different to the normal airflow. It's hard to visualize them, but the CFD really does help with that.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so the sort of only real compromises then maybe like the center of gravity height or something like that on the car. Like you could make the car lower if you didn't need to maximize the sort of the diffuser shape and the sort of space for the tunnel. Well, in front of the diffuser, like having a really long diffuser or something like that. Then is that correct?
Yeah. We did compromise the center of gravity, but the last big mechanical change we did in the car, we actually lowered the engine quite a long way because we we were quite conservative the way we interpreted the rules originally. But once we ran at the event, we got a clarification, and we could really put the engine pretty much where all the other competitors put it. Which so we have actually lowered the center of gravity quite a lot, but there's still a lot of time that we haven't gained from that yet because we just haven't done all the testing and development.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of scary looking at the times it does already. And, well, I mean, yeah, saying that it's on street tires is maybe not entirely accurate because, I mean, those are really high traction race tires.
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
sort of
yeah. Those tires are
size of the
really those
tire is
tires are
maybe,
really sticking.
yeah, but sort of like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
size of the tires maybe is more of a limiting factor there, like how much downward force you can put through them before you start breaking the sidewalls on the tires, really. So I mean, like considering
well,
the size of the tires compared to like the A1 GP car, I think that has the official lap record there, and like you're only a few tenths off, and it's like a full chassis, like a street-based car that has still like lots of the original chassis left and the whole like interior shape and everything. So it's scary how fast that is, and yeah, especially considering how much potential there's still left
yeah,
in it.
the car's got a lot more downforce than a the car has got a huge that car's got a huge amount of downforce. It's
Yeah.
it's a bit draggy, but it's got more downforce than a Formula One car. It's got a lot of downforce. I
Yeah.
mean, when I say Formula One car, I mean one of a few years ago, because Sam's worked in that industry, so he's got some idea. But it's a lot more draggy, so it's hard to completely compare it. But there is a lot of downforce in that car.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the drag
But
also isn't that much of a problem if you just apply more power, of course. So then you get around that issue.
yeah, look, that's something we've been playing with because we run a lot more downforce than we did originally. Probably 30% more downforce than when we originally ran the car and when we originally designed it. Because every time we we put a bit more wing into it, it just goes faster. So, and we're about at that limit now because we can't, the suspension can't really cope with any more downforce. Getting the suspension to keep the car off the ground is a huge challenge with these cars. It's very, very difficult to stop the car hitting the ground, and you can't run a car without suspension. And when you're hitting the ground, you don't have suspension. It's one thing we spent quite a long time working out what to do.
Yeah.
Um,
So
it,
I'm guessing
it's
the
a
only sort of step up in the suspension that you could really do would be to move over to either active ride height or full active suspension. Is there like been any talk about that at all, or any dreams or something like that?
yeah, yeah. Look, we have thought about that a bit. Tractive, we use the tractive dampers, um, and they do have an active system. We're already using an active dampening system, which
Yeah, I
is
mean
a
I
huge,
mean yeah, the
hu-
active damping stuff really helps because then you can
yeah.
yeah
That
run a
that
sort of
really helps
variable
because
spring rate by still maintaining like a good damping ratio. So that's really good, of course. Sorry for
yeah,
cutting you off there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You need two different damping rates with an aero suspension, and an active spring will be better. And there is a few developments in the future, but I don't think that's going to be happening anytime really soon. At the moment, we're just doing a. We're really just working on a spring. We're using a bump stop basically as a spring, as you would expect.
Yeah.
So it's not an ideal situation, but it's just something that we've sort of tuned and we can handle it as long as we don't have too much downforce.
Yeah.
Um, we
Yeah,
have
I
a
mean,
limit.
yeah, the problem is,
We
of course, that you don't want to run it really like very high up in lower speed corners because then you lose, yeah, downforce there. So you want to like keep it at a constant ride height, but you still need suspension. So it gets like, yeah, it gets into a yeah trade-off situation, of course, there and trying to figure out the best solution. So
Yeah, but look, the main problem is going down the straight. The car's a lot faster than any other time, and then it hits the ground. And that causes a lot of problems because we can't let it hit the ground. So you have to be able to handle that situation. So it's really not an ideal. If this car didn't go as fast down the straight, it would be a little bit simpler actually. But that's our limiting thing, and that's why at this point we sort of we can only make the aero more efficient. We can't actually put more downforce in it for now.
yeah, yeah, good stuff. So yeah, what about the yeah, if we look at the suspension setup, yeah, we sort of touched on that already a little bit. So yeah, you are running attractive active dampers. So there's a active like adjustment for the dampers that is capable there. But yeah, what's the suspension setup otherwise? Is it A-arms front and rear, or what kind of a setup do you have there?
Look, it's really quite a basic setup. It's just double wishbones front and rear. Well, it's double wishbones at the front. At the back, we're actually going to run a trailing arm system now. It's slightly different. The trailing arm on the bottom. It's up until now it's been a double wishbone system, but we've had a few problems with the lower wishbone sits in the air, and we've had a few problems with it just not really holding the wheel in exactly the right position. So we've changed to a lower trailing arm system,
Okay.
which just holds the wheel, just locates the wheel better, really. But that's in the future because we did find in the last event that the rear wheel is just not it's not controlled longitudinally as well as we would like.
Okay. Yeah, so you're getting some
But
compliance there from the
the,
suspension components.
yeah, no, we're just something we had to re-engineer, and we still haven't. We designed the new trailing arm, but we haven't actually tested it yet.
Okay.
Uh, but
Yeah.
the springs and the dampers are just like in a normal car. There's no uh, there's nothing complicated in the way the springs and struts work.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
interesting stuff that there's yeah still some upgrades and yeah improvements to do to that you're yeah already sort of figuring out things how to make it even faster and sort of more stable and stuff like that, which will yeah always improve cornering speed. So okay, good stuff. How did the so the drivetrain section there? How was the sort of clutch, drive shaft, gearbox stuff working? And yeah, so in the last event you were also running torque sensors in the half shaft. So yeah, if you could talk about that whole package and how you ended
yeah,
up with what you
we
currently
yeah
have.
we well we just found someone that that they just came to the torque sensors came down in price where they were feasible, and one of the best things about the torque sensors is we can correlate the data we use much more from the dyno to the track. Makes it much easier to work out what's actually happening, particularly because we don't run the car very much, and we can work out the actual power that's getting to the road. Um, they they do help a lot. The torque sensors. So we really do know how much power the car really is producing, and that helps with the aero analysis as well. But the gearbox is in the rear. It's running carbon it's a carbon torque tube with a carbon drive shaft as well now. Um, it's it's just a normal tilt and four plate clutch, nothing really special. Album's gearbox.
Okay.
Um,
So I'm assuming you have like a paddle shift, so it has like a blip downshifts and like flat up shifts then.
yeah, it's all paddle shift.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, basically sort of standard modern high tech car car parts basically. I mean,
Yeah,
probably
yeah. It's just
20 years ago that would be cutting edge. Now it's still like really high end stuff, but that you see on yeah start seeing a lot of vehicles nowadays, I guess.
yeah. We spent a lot of time with the traction control. That's the torque sensors and the drive shafts help with that as well. The traction control is really important in a car like this because it we can only really run full power in fourth, fifth, and sixth. Not even sure if we can in fourth. I think it's only the top two gears we can run full power. So you really need a way to moderate the power to get the traction in the car. It's quite a challenge. You've only got two wheels, and it's well, 12 over 1,200 horsepower now. It's not easy to keep the traction.
Oh yeah, that's something that we actually yeah didn't mention yet. So yeah, this is yeah still running a rear wheel drive drivetrain setup. This is yeah unfortunately something that is limited by the TimeAttack rules. So you're not allowed to convert a two-wheel drive car to a four-wheel drive car. So do you see that this is a potential like danger situation from something like yeah Tilton Evo or something like that with a four-wheel drive setup? Like, do you see them potentially like having a technical advantage, or I mean, of course, yeah, you still have probably the fastest standby far, like yeah, for like
Look,
favorite car for
I
the
think
future also. But is it like, have you looked into that like how close they should be, or could they be faster or something like that?
I think four-wheel drive is definitely going to be faster. The traction is a big problem, but um, I know the Evos actually they have a bit of they have a bit of trouble with their front wheels because they have a bit of trouble with the tires. They can put so much torque through them. But no, four-wheel drive tires definitely going to be faster. But there's limitations on the Evo platform aerodynamically, which probably look you could get around it if you wanted to, but that's just this is the car I chose to
Yeah,
run. So I've got a bit of a thing for the Porsche 968. It's just a thing it's just a car I grew up with, and just a sort of the thing, and I just chose this way. But I don't think there's any question that a four-wheel drive car would be faster.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I guess you would need a. So yeah, they still have the minimum weight regulations there. So what I've looked into that so for our ER8 that we've sort of reviewed multiple times and it's been cancelled multiple times and like it's like a forever project that who knows if it's ever going to be completed or not. But we've like looked into multiple different like base cars to use for a four-wheel drive like aerodynamic chassis that doesn't have a really high start weight because you're only allowed to like reduce the weight by a certain percentage from the sort of factory weight. And at least from what I've been able to look around like the internet for like all kinds of different cars, there isn't really no like lightweight four-wheel drive aerodynamic car that you could use as a starting point. Because yeah, you have to give up like one of those, and you really don't want to give up any of those. So it is like entirely possible that a rear-wheel drive car like might be the fastest sort of base chassis currently.
Yeah,
But
well, I think the weight is a big advantage. A 1,000 kilo rear-wheel drive car is going to be faster than a 1,200 kilo four-wheel drive car. I mean,
yeah,
mostly,
with the high
but you
downforce, I mean,
you
you get
you
you get
you,
so much
you
more
could make
corner
that
speed.
1,200. You can make that 1,200 kilo four-wheel drive car fast, but it's more work. But 1,000, the weight really does help. But look, that if you go back in time, there is definitely cars out. There's four-wheel drive cars out there that could be used.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's just that you end up with higher minimum weight then, and yeah, that can like really limit your sort of corner corner speed because you don't get any more downforce, of course, or and you have like limit on how much tire loading you can run. So yeah, trade off there.
Yeah. The weight is a big advantage when you look at Murray's car, the Hammerhead. It's got a lot less downforce than we do, but it's a lot lighter, over 100 kilos lighter. And it's nearly as fast, but it's just designed in a slightly different way.
Yeah,
The RP968 is an aero car, really. It's all about the downforce of that car.
yeah, yeah, good stuff. Okay, so yes, technical aspects of the car. Is there anything else? I want to save the engine for last. Of course, I'm being a little bit biased with the engine, but is there anything else with the like technical aspect of that? I want to sort of look at the engine and then the sort of traction control, how that works together, because there's some interesting stuff with the traction control stuff that I talked with your. Oh, I always forget these guys' names. The your ECU guy, I don't remember.
Yeah, Matt.
Ah,
Yeah,
Matt. Yeah, yeah, so I did talk with him a little bit about what kind of issues you were a little bit having with like getting the traction control really well tuned because you have like flicks in the drivetrain, of course, and being able to sort of run really good traction control while still sort of keeping good throttle response and maintaining sort of boost pressure and like this whole equation was like something really difficult with
it,
the
it,
previous
yeah,
engine.
it,
I'm assuming so.
we used to have a lot more trouble when originally we had a steel drive shaft. We had a lot of twist in that, and we just couldn't cope with that. It just made it really hard to get the traction control to work properly. But there's he uses a lot of different ways to control the engine power because you can. It's not just controlling the power; you just needs to be responsive as well. So he uses a lot of different ways. He uses the blower valve, the wastegate, a lot of different ways to manage the throttle position and just the output power.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also so the problem with having like a flexible, or well, I mean, of course, all drivetrains will have some kind of flexibility, but yeah, having a drivetrain with more flexibility, like needing quick response from traction control and still having good throttle response, so that creates a problem where if you like respond really quickly with engine power, then you'll sort of end up having an oscillation issue in the drivetrain, which is really bad because then you end up losing a lot of time accelerating out of corners and can like end up like potentially even breaking stuff because you get sort of a power oscillation there. So that is something that is I can assume is potentially really difficult to like get really fine tuned in there. So yeah,
Yeah,
Excellent stuff.
it puts a lot. It puts a lot more load on the suspension. That's one of the other problems with the rear wheels. Not really the rear suspension not really functioning quite how we would like. That as soon as the car lost traction, it would just the wheel would be just moving, and the whole it would just lose stability in the whole car, and just put
Hmm.
all sorts of weird loads on the car.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, so then you end up, yeah, having that sort of traction, the sort of traction and power levels sort of oscillating with the suspension geometry and how much flex there is in the tire angles and stuff like that. Okay, that yeah, I'm assuming that will like, I mean, yeah, like the yeah top level guys driving the car, of course. Yeah, if you have a good enough driver, it could probably cope with that, but you're still going to lose time, of course, if it isn't like really stable. So.
No, he can cope with it. He won't lift, but it's just the car is slow. The car is slower. Um, we we had a few problems last year because once we went up to the Garrett turbo, those new turbos are so much more efficient. We had a few. It just gave us a few unexpected problems with the design of the exhaust manifold, um, which affected the way we couldn't really get the get the car to run properly at a lower power, which was really a problem with the traction.
Yeah, then you sort of start figuring out that okay, like now you might be reaching sort of a good amount of power when you start having like trouble at the sort of lower power amounts. That's I mean it's a problem that needs to be solved, but I guess it's kind of a good problem, I guess that then you sort of know that you don't need more power at least. So
Yeah. Well, there's still a lot more potential in that engine, um, which
yeah.
we really we're
Um, how
hoping
did you
hoping to.
how did you sort of yeah, if I mean I've gone through this in our Thor the Story video series. So yeah, for viewers out there, if you want to check that, then yeah, much more about the engine will be in there. But yeah, I'm really interested in what's sort of your take on how did you end up with our Elmer Racing Thor engine in there, and like what how did the sort of ball get started, and I mean it's probably also like a really big risk because at that point in time we hadn't like done any complete engine or anything like that at all, and like how did you like yeah, that's really intriguing. Like, how did you, first of all, like end up contacting us, and how did you like sort of want to sort of take the risk of going with us instead of having someone like sort of more brand named company build the engine, and how sort of yeah, and after that probably I want to tie into a little bit like how this goes into overall project management and stuff like that. But yeah, if we like yeah the sort of engine aspect of that first, if yeah, if that's okay.
Well, look, we knew we needed to build an engine, and we knew we would have to start from scratch because it's not a very well known car. It's a not there's just not many of these cars really exist, so it's not a big market. And I approached a few people in Australia, and there is a quite a few people here good in that sort of field making built engines, but they didn't seem particularly interested. Not they just sort of said, yeah, we could do it, but they just didn't seem particularly interested in doing it, and they just it was just you're going to have to give them a certain amount of money and do it, and I didn't feel any confidence that they really understood really what I wanted to do and the time constraints, and it just they just didn't seem to really understand. But I mean, really, with Alma Racing, it's because I met you, Oscar, and it was obvious that we could get on along on the same wavelength.
Oh yeah,
And
so jumping back,
you
sorry to cut you off there, but jumping back a little bit. So you first initially were just interested in looking at a block and not a complete billet engine. So just to clarify that for our listeners also. But okay, yeah, continue please.
yeah yeah yeah. Originally, the stock block just is limited to about 800 horsepower. It just can't handle any more. But as normally happens with these things, we started with the block, and then we thought, well, we could do this, and then we can. But if we make a make a whole engine, it will be better. And it's just one of the things that happens with with these projects. You just get a bit carried away, really. And I think that's what happened with this with the Thor engine. It just it just it just got bigger and bigger as we went along.
Yeah, excellent. So how did okay, so basically, yeah, from your sort of, I guess this is sort of goes into then the sort of your overall like project management philosophy and how to get the like the right people involved or something. So like need to have people that like are interested enough. Like that's, I mean, going to be definitely a criteria. Like either way, I mean, regardless of what you select and do. I mean, what kind of like other traits that people have. I mean, they have to be interested enough. But I mean, probably like other criteria also. I'd like, do you deliberately like think about other aspects also that like how different people are going to get along, or is that like something that is sort of like has a backseat and you just sort of like see how that goes and manage things or yeah, because I mean I remember having like a multiple sort of back and forths a little bit. I mean nothing critical, and like I think it was very easy to sort of figure that out, and that was one of the, I think, sort of big sort of moments for me, like looking back at the sort of development time. We basically did the complete engine in something like I don't remember the exact time, but something like 7 8 months, something like that. There was a little bit sort of a missed time there in the middle also, so it's incredibly short time frame, and we still like went back and forth on multiple things, like what would be best for the car, like even starting with the displacement and what kind of yeah intake manifold we want to fit there, and how to do the cooling like ducting stuff. And there are like multiple back and forths, which I think is really good because like you understand the sort of different technical aspects of everything, so that you can like then work with the different like really high level tech guys that you're working with, but you like understand the overall situation, so you can like explain things between different people and like figure out the overall like best thing for the car, so to say. So how like so how do you like again, is this like more luck or like just like sort of knowingly focusing on these aspects, or how does this like overall thing tie together? I don't even know like what to ask specifically because it's such like a like broad and like strange topic. Well, not strange, but like yeah. So yeah, what kind of views do you have on that sort of project management and people management things?
I I sort of see myself as sort of a bridge between different technical people, and I try and make sure that they're talking to each other and focusing on what we've got to do, um, and just focusing on the result you're after. Um, I really like people that you can just sort of let them go, and you want to get them to do what they want to do, but you just got to control them a bit to keep them basically focused on the result. But I don't really want to. I don't think you get the best out of people by telling them exactly what to do. I think you should encourage them, and then just make sure they don't sort of go the wrong way. And just that that's my personal thing. I think you get a better result doing that. If you just tell someone exactly what to do, and just say design that, you really want to. I just think people work better when they're working with their own ideas. It's just there's a creative side there that you really do want to encourage.
Yeah. Okay, so it is like overall stuff that you are sort of knowledgeable about, and or like a project management stuff that you are sort of like, yeah, I mean really knowledgeable about. And I think like having these kinds of projects and stuff, I mean, yeah, this is something that I think you would sort of hear at like university courses as some guest speakers or something like that, with like the sort of overall philosophy and like understanding. I mean, and definitely like you understand enough of the technical aspects also, so that it's easy for you to sort of manage the discussion between the like different people. And yeah, I mean,
Well, I
it's
don't know. Yeah. I don't know if it's always easy, but
Well, I mean, yeah, I
because
mean,
you know
it's
you,
never
you
that
you
easy,
know
but of course, but like you have the like like technical aspect to like understand enough of everything so that you know like what the discussion is about and how like important different topics are going to be maybe to like manage this sort of discussion. Uh, if I understand you correctly.
I think you just got to make sure that you keep people on focused the, the topic and what you're really supposed to be doing. I prefer to deal with people one on one myself. I'm not a big fan of meetings. I don't find meetings very productive really. They're good. They're good at letting everyone know what has to be done.
Yeah,
But
for brainstorming
but
maybe also, but
yeah, well, I think there's a place for that. But certainly with this car, we've never had really enough time for brainstorming. I know that sounds strange, but it just
yeah,
we've always we've always been short of time,
yeah,
and there's a lot of work with the computer. There's a lot of actual work you got to do. So um, yeah, I just try and focus on having people that know what they're doing, and I try and guide them.
okay. I'll just open up image here on stream. Wait, I need to figure out how to do that. So yeah, I have plotted here the lap times or the yeah fastest lap times in World Time Attack from 2014 to 2019. So I'll just bring those up on stream. I'm not. You probably don't have the stream open, so you'll probably not see those. But I'll yeah talk about the specific ones. But I'll just bring this up here for the guys watching. So yeah, initially like well yeah, I'll get started here and yeah, have you comment in on something while I do the finger work here to get things going. But so from 2015 to 16, for instance, you did from the World Time Attack websites almost a 4 second gain there. So that's a huge lap time improvement there. You did 2016. I'm not sure. Did you finish second or third or something like that? You had a about 83 second lap time, so yeah, 1 minute 23 seconds, something like that. So what were the sort of main improvements you did from 2015 to 16, if you can remember?
That's that's really when we worked out how to get the suspension to work properly. We had a lot of we weren't really controlling the wheel very well, and we to the combination between the spring and the damp rubber is something that it's easy to look at it in theory, and originally sort of think, well, the bump stop's a bump stop, but we came to a point where we went, well, the bump stop is a spring, really. That as far as we're concerned, the car runs on the bump stop nearly the whole way around the lap. So we we just got a lot of different bump stops, and we cut them up and custom made them to get the car to behave how we wanted it to. And we did a little bit more. The rear suspension, we we had a bit of a problem with there was a rear wheel steering with the car as well. But we just over that we actually just did a bit of testing for that at that time. That's how we got most of that time back.
Okay.
Really, just getting the car basically in the right position, getting the suspension to not bottom out, but to run in a reasonable way. And been a few aero improvements as well along that line.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's the original thing we did. With the,
Yeah, that's a
we
seriously
just with
impressive.
the car was just designed on paper originally, and then we just started doing testing, and we realized we just we just worked out what was actually happening with the car.
Yeah,
It's very
that's
difficult to drive originally.
okay. Yeah, that's a really
Um,
impressive sort of gain from 2015 to 16. Then yeah, 16 to 17. So Yeah, I have plotted the fastest other lap time, which yeah, 2017 was the winning lap time there. I think you finished second there, 2017, also with about 81 and a half seconds. So you were about half a second off the win there in 2017, uh, which wait a minute, I don't remember exactly what happened back then, but yeah, that was 1.5 second improvement from 2016 to 17 from you, and yeah, track conditions were, I think, relatively good 2017 also. Were there any sort of major improvements there, or just, I mean, you were originally planning on running the Thor engine there, but yeah, due to some measurement and tolerances stuff, yeah, the oil pressure unfortunately wasn't there, so ended up running the old old engine and yeah, drivetrain, like still pushing the drivetrain really hard there, so didn't get much laps in,
Yeah,
but yeah, did
we just ran out of time that year.
yeah
We didn't have enough time to get everything done in time,
yeah.
and we ran out of luck.
Yeah, but
You
I
know,
mean, you
you always
still
need a bit of
improved one
luck.
and a half seconds on the lap time there, so still a really good improvement there.
Yeah, well, there's just a lot of potential in it, and you know, later on, once we got a bit of clarification with the rules, we redesigned the front end, um, which gave the car a lot more downforce. It's much wider at the front now than it was originally, and it's got a triple element wing now, whereas originally we just ran two elements in the rear. It's it's That's just
Yeah,
part of what I said before. The car just responds to more downforce. It just goes faster.
yeah,
So that it's just something we just sort of found out by experimenting with it. And
yeah,
then when we the the different front end we have now is just, yeah, it's more efficient, more downforce.
yeah. Excellent stuff. Okay, so then yeah, 2000. So yeah, the lap times sort of plotted 2016, 2017, 2018 are basically a straight line. So you improved 1.5 seconds between 2016 and 2017. Then you continued improving 1.5 seconds to 2018. And the track conditions 2018 were slower. The fastest other car went around zero point 0.4 seconds slower in 2018 than in 2017. So you had like a really fast car 2018. Of course, yeah, that was the first year Thor was running, and yeah, figured out a lot of about the engine, and ended up having, yeah, engine issues there and not being able to complete the final what is the final session. I think, was it one or two sessions or something like that, and then that we lost because of, yeah, thermal issues basically with the engine that we then solved for next year. But yeah, I think there were some aero improvements also, and the drivetrain stuff, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I mean, that's some, I mean, really serious like improvements. You were all like half a sorry, half a second off the win in 2017. Then in 2018 you won by over 1.5 seconds. So that's an insane improvement there. Is there like and yeah, I have some pictures with you with the yeah, number one uh, trophy there on the car, and yeah, big smile on your face, and yeah, I'm assuming that's like so many years of work and stuff like that. So, and yeah, like wanting to push things a little bit further and a little bit further and getting things to work. And I mean, everything wasn't perfect, but it worked really well. So you like got like a win by a huge margin 2018. So is there like anything specific that comes to mind that year specifically?
Yeah, look, I think that year the we just we didn't change anything on the car. We just sort of ran it, and so we were just a little bit more confident in running the car. We didn't do a lot of changes that year. We just finessed a few things, and we were basically running the car we were going to run the year before, but we had it working properly.
Yeah, I think yeah,
It
the
was,
drive shaft I think you changed or something. Or no, was there
yeah,
there was a
yeah,
coupling piece or something like that that had broken in 2017 that you got fixed or something?
we had breakages then, but we'd run out of time. We weren't ready.
Yeah,
we just didn't have the car running exactly how we wanted to. We just didn't get too carried away. It's with the last year with 2019, it was another thing where we did a lot of changes, but we didn't really get them finished.
yeah,
So
yeah. But I mean,
it
again,
just
so in looking at the lap time chart here, so the like second or like the fastest non-RP968 car there in 2019, the lap time for that car was about something like zero point 0.9 seconds slower than in 2017. And while the yeah RP968 in 2019 was, what is that, like over 2 seconds faster, like 2.3 seconds, something like that, maybe faster in 2019 than in 17. And yeah, improvement of about half a second in 2019, even though like the fastest non-RP968 car went slower in 19 again than in 18 also, while you went faster. So like you're still making like really big improvements, even though like track conditions are slowing other cars down. So like with improved track conditions, I mean, it's scary to think how fast the RP968 would be. And yeah, as you say, I mean, there's still lots of potential left in there also.
yeah,
So
no, there's a lot more potential. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
We did. 2019 wasn't a very good year. We weren't really prepared. So we made a lot of really good changes with the car, but for various reasons, it wasn't the car wasn't finished in time, so that just there's no testing at all. Um,
Yeah. Okay, but I mean, yeah, awesome stuff in 2018 and 19. Yeah, 2020 was, yeah, unfortunately cancelled completely the event. And yeah, what I've yeah, Ian has gotten the yeah World Time Attack going again for 2021, and they have a agreement I think to 2025 for that. So I'm assuming like Ian is probably definitely once you running in a World Time Attack this year again. I mean, yeah, I mean you are by far the favorite car and the yeah most interesting car I think, and yeah, everyone will want to see you there. But yeah, it's like a big expenditure and stuff like that. So is it? Yeah, okay to talk about potential future plans to race with the car, or are you still sort of thinking about what to do and don't want to comment too much on that, or yeah, well,
well, look, I'm happy to run this year, but I will say there's a lot of complicated, um, just a lot of complications this year, which makes it difficult.
yeah,
If we can't test the car, it's going to be very difficult to run it.
yeah. I mean, it's
So
fully understandable, of course.
I'm just hoping things are because it's going to be a good event this year. Now that they're running at night,
Yeah,
it means all the sessions with all for the cars will be pretty even because there'll be much cooler conditions, and it's going to be pretty spectacular as well.
yeah. Having
Um,
lower surface track temperature on the tarmac there. So yeah, like typically you would like most people quote, sorry, is that with yeah the temperature goes down so you get more engine power and you can like go faster on the straights, and that makes the car faster. But yeah, really you're at a point where you have basically unlimited power because yeah you're like sort of more at the sort of suspension and tire limit than power limit. But like you have a big, like a really big track uh, sort of lap time improvement by having a lower temperature on the track surface, because that cools the tires more so you can run like more energy through the tire, so to say, because you have losses through the tire. The more energy you run, the more they heat up, and then if they go over a certain temperature, or like when they start going too high in temperature, you will start yeah losing traction. So having a lower track surface temperature means the tire will be a lower temperature, so you can put more power through and more energy through the tire. So yeah, you can take corners faster and or take corners faster for longer, basically, which yeah hopefully should like make lap time much faster. So yeah, really interesting stuff. And yeah, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Probably want to start. Yeah, okay, we've been going for over an hour already. I think we need to yeah start closing off here. But yeah, if there's anything you want to say or comment or yeah, potentially if you want
Oh,
to
look,
find
look.
more people for the team or anything specific tech stuff or something like that that you like are looking for people for, or like yeah, whatever, feel free to comment anything.
Look, I think I've covered enough stuff for today. Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty open to. There's no real secrets with this car. I'm not trying to hide anything with it. You know, we're just trying to make it as fast as we can, really. But look, well, let's hope things go forward this year because World TimeAttack is a really good event, and that's really
Yeah.
why I had this car. If it wasn't for the event, I wouldn't own it. So
Yeah.
that's a nice thing. But yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's about
excellent.
all. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, thanks so much for yeah joining the stream here, and yeah, I think you've been like thorough enough that we don't even have like a lot of questions here from the stream, so everyone has just been like happily listening along and getting enough like tech info and stuff like that. So yeah, good stuff, and thanks so much
All right.
for joining
Okay.
and
All
going
right.
through all the
Yeah.
stuff and
Good talk to you, Oscar. Yeah.
being open and stuff. Yeah, excellent. Okay,
Okay.
so
Thanks.
speak to you
Bye.
again at some point, and yeah, thanks so much again. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, so just okay, I think we have the yeah second link also closed here. So yeah, just finishing this off. So yeah, that was Rod Pobestek. So the RP from the RP968 that yeah went through stuff there. So I think yeah one of the main things that you really don't hear much talk about usually is sort of the overall project management and how things work together and how you sort of get into things, especially like this extreme high level stuff. So yeah, really, I mean, I at least was very interested in hearing about that, and yeah, a little bit about all the sort of different tech aspects of the different parts of the car and why the car is as it is now. So yeah, good stuff. Hope you guys found that interesting also, and if you did, yeah, please feel free to yeah link to this stream and video and yeah comment, ask questions. We might be able to answer questions later if you yeah leave comments on the video once it's so not on the live stream anymore, but yeah on the video once it's on YouTube. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining in, and we'll see you guys in the next live tech analysis video. Bye. And yeah, so thanks to yeah Joseph and Henry here for stopping by in the live stream and leaving some comments. Hopefully you got yeah the information you were looking for here, and yeah all the other guys that are just viewing along. So yeah, feel free to leave comments in the future if you want to.